It happens very often that the vision of the photographer doesn't always mesh up or match the vision of the client. So while the client picked this model and had set out some suggestions for styling, they went a little too far on the makeup application at the actual shoot. So what we're going to do is attempt to make this makeup more subtle. We'll start by sampling her skin tone to use it as an area to repair. I'm going to go to the eyedropper tool. The letter I for eyedropper will hop you there, or you can click on the eyedropper tool. And when working with higher resolution images, you want to go to a 3x3 average. Point sample is really only used for web designers to grab one exact pixel. If you grab a random pixel in high-end print, it may give you an inaccurate reading. So when I choose 3x3 average, I'm going to sample this portion of her skin, and you get this little sampling ring. The bottom color is the color I had, which in this case started as black. The top color is the color I'm sampling now. And to see this better, if I decide that skin tone is too light and I want a darker shade, now when I click and hold, I can slide until the top color looks just a bit darker. There we go. To paint away this bright pink eyeshadow, I will go to the paintbrush tool and change the mode from normal to color. And when I paint with color, it'll paint with the skin tone that I just sampled. I'll zoom in with Command plus or Control plus, and I'll use my right bracket key on my keyboard to make the brush bigger, or you can dial the size up until it's about as big as the eyeshadow area. Clicking away here is kind of a safety zone. I'm going to use my right bracket key next to the letter P to make my brush bigger, and now I've applied more of a copper color to that eyeshadow. There we go. I'll try it across the top as well, and a little bit around the outside. And I might dodge just slightly around the eyelashes so I don't wash those out too much. There's a lot of techniques to do this, but this I find to be one of the easiest. All right, I think most of the pink is gone. I'll zoom back down, and now she has more of a gold or copper look. And if I want to get rid of that silver eyeshadow, I could turn that to the skin tone also, or I could sample a different spot. You're still going to keep that silver sheen, but this, in my opinion, looks far more subtle. I could also try the patch tool to blend away some of this silver with her skin. So I use the patch tool underneath the spot healing brush, and I'll just drag to solid skin, and now I don't get so much of the silver eyeshadow. I'll hit B to go back to brush and continue to paint a little bit. And I'm going to pause the recording and make some more edits to the right eye, and then I'll come in and show you more tricks. All right, back after the magic of recording. So here I've washed out the eyelashes a bit. They've got that copper tone as well. So I'm going to come to the burn tool. Burn is underneath the dodge tool. Dodge means lighten, burn means darken. And with the burn tool, I'm going to tell it to look for the shadows, just the darkest parts of the image. And in the shadows, I usually use between 10 and 20% as my exposure. That should make it nice and subtle. And I'll simply sweep over the eyelashes to make them black again, or a bit darker. This works great on eyeliner as well. And I'll sweep down here on these, and then I'll scoot over and sweep over the eyelashes on this side. This will also give you that smoky eye effect. So I've made the eyeshadow more subtle, but it may still be too extreme or too pronounced. Let's take a look at before and after. in the History panel up at the upper right, before, after. I like that a lot better, but it may be too gold. So I'll zoom back in with Command plus or Control plus, and underneath the Dodge and Burn tool is a sponge tool, which will suck up or desaturate the color. With the sponge tool, it does move towards gray, so now I can sweep over, and the more I sweep, the more it's taking away the color values and moving towards gray. You have to be cautious, though. It's easy to go too far in the gray area. And now, in essence, I'm making her eyelids black and white. So you will have to do some blending here. And I love that History will save the day. If I've removed too much, I can click my History panel, see where I started sponging, and click back on the Burn tool. Maybe I just want to lighten this, so I can try Dodge. So by clicking back on the Burn tool, I undid all the sponging or desaturating. I'll make my brush a little bigger, and now I'm just lightening that. But be careful where you lighten. It's lightening the midtones, which may cause a glow. I'll undo that and change my range to either highlights, and watch what that does. That's even worse of a glow. Undo. And really where I want to lighten is the shadows, the richest, most copper portions of that eye. And now I'm approaching the subtlety I'm looking for in this shot. Now there are some tricks I can use at the end with masks to bring back the black of the eyes, and there's other tricks you can use with layers to wipe out the pink altogether. But my goal with this exercise is just to teach you how to make this more subtle. In fact, around the edges where I do get too much gray, but I've softened everything, I love the patch tool just to clean up or hide any evidence of work that I've done, and at the same time, removing wrinkles. So as long as I don't touch the eyelashes, the patch is great at blending away evidence of retouching. And if there's any little portions I want to bring back, my History brush is always set to the original. I could hit the History brush tool and use a little bit bigger brush and start painting back. But that's going to bring back all of the pink. I could try 2 for 20% opacity and paint back just a little bit of that pink, removing some of the gray tone, and a little bit underneath, restoring just a blend of the original makeup job. Now let's see where we are. This should get rid of all the gray that I was worried about. So here's our final in History. Before, very harsh, too bright in my opinion. After, much more subtle, much more natural looking. Now the earrings and the necklace are another matter. If you're brave enough, you could try the cloning stamp tool to clone hair over that, or clone part of her skin to remove the necklace. But hopefully you've seen some ways to subtle up makeup by painting with color on your regular paintbrush tool in the blending modes.